Joining us on WHIP radio right now is Ann Holton, former Secretary of Education in the state of Virginia and a spouse of Senator Tim Kaine, who is the running mate for Hillary Clinton on the Democratic ticket for president in 2016. And everything that's dominated the headlines in the past 24 hours were Donald Trump's controversial comments made over 10 years ago with Billy Bush. It has dominated the airwaves. We've seen prominent Republicans disavow, some even calling for him to drop out of the race. And do you believe it's time Donald Trump drops out of the race and another Republican should step in his spot?
Well, so let me answer this that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I usually don't talk about the other side on the campaign trail at all. I just think we have so much positive stuff to talk about Hillary Clinton's talent and judgment and experience and plans that I just avoid it. But I will say that these circumstances so cry out for a response that I'll say this much, that I just feel like he owes so many apologies to so many people, so many millions of people that he's insulted, but most importantly, I feel like he owes an apology to the voters, because the real truth is voters want to be talking about the important issues. You know, I was meeting with educators this morning, and I've been meeting with volunteers and other folks all across this area and all across the nation over the last month or more, and his whole insult-driven campaign has been a big distraction from things the voters want to be hearing about, and it's just infuriating. And I'll leave it up to others to figure out what, if anything, he or anybody else should do in response to this. And frankly, the sad part is none of this surprises me about him. This is what we've known about him if we were paying attention all along.
And you have been involved in government in many of the same ways as Hillary Clinton, and that she'll be able to do the things that she says she will?
Absolutely. And yes, I like to flatter myself that my career has followed hers in ways. You know, she was went to the Children's Defense Fund right out of law school. I was a legal aid lawyer right out of law school. But the truth is, she was working on representing foster youth even when she was in law school, helping young people obtain permanent families. And that's an issue that I've worked on passionately much of my career. She coming out of her Methodist upbringing, my husband coming out of his Jesuit education, and me coming out of my Presbyterian upbringing, we all were raised with the notion of being that public service, the opportunity to be of service to others, is the greatest honor and privilege, and that is absolutely who she is. And it's the constant in her life has been that she's a person for others, I think she's just going to be a spectacular president.
Joining us on WHIP radio right now is Ann Holton, wife of Senator Tim Kaine, who is Secretary Hillary Clinton's running mate for the Democratic ticket for President of the United States of America. And you just brought up faith in your last point, and we actually saw when your husband was on the debate stage with Governor Mike Pence, faith was a question, how their faith affects how they govern towards the end of the debate. So I want to know, how do you think, is there a difference in the beliefs you think in Secretary Clinton and your husband, Senator Kaine? Considering they're both Christian, but we talked about Roman Catholic faith being just a bit different from the Methodist.
Well, John, certainly, yeah, they come from different faith backgrounds, but we have so much more in common, and we have different, frankly, when I married my Catholic husband, my Presbyterian family and Episcopalian family on my mother's side wanted to know, well, what are all the differences? And I said, well, wait a minute, have you thought about all the similarities? And we're so much more similar than we are different. I mean, obviously, we're all part of the Judeo-Christian tradition, but more importantly, we all, Hillary, Tim, and I, like to look to our faith to inform who we are and what we do. And now that doesn't mean we impose our views on others, but it does mean it's very central to our lives, to what motivates us, and we look at life through that lens.
And I'm going to stick with faith just for a little bit here because it has been central to the campaign, especially John and myself. As some of the rallies that we've been to, we've seen people talking about faith. And according to an article from ABC News, I saw that you and your husband have been members of a Black Catholic church for over 30 years. How do you think that experience has shaped you and your husband's worldview and helps contribute to a stronger ticket alongside Hillary Clinton?
Well, Ryan, I was honored to grow up in a family where my dad was in politics as governor of Virginia, set out making Virginia a model of race relations as a key part of his agenda as governor. And I had the opportunity to help integrate our inner city, Richmond City schools when I was a 12-year-old. And it's very deep, literally in my DNA that someday we've got to move past these challenges. And we do. We make 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but that it is a fundamental moral challenge of our society. And Tim had spent this year in Honduras in the middle of law school and had found church communities there very real in people's lives, and then had spent a year in Georgia clerking for a federal judge and had found his way to an African-American church there that was much more similar to his church experience in Honduras than anything else he had found. And the truth is, I was wooing him to Richmond. I was trying to get him to come to Richmond instead of go to Kansas City where his family was. And I church shopped and found a church that was a lot like the one he'd gone to in Georgia. And it's been an honor for us to be, well, how many times do white people get the experience of what it means to be in the minority? And, our minority friends get plenty of that experience, right? But
sure.
It was a choice we made to put ourselves in that circumstance so that we could learn so we could help change the Sunday morning hour being such a divided hour racially that we were going to do our little bit to mix that up. And the truth is, it's a church it's a very, very warm community. Tim sang in the gospel choir for many, many years, and there are families there now that we've been through thick and thin with, and they're there for us and we for them, and it's family.
And we're exactly 1 month away from Election Day. So last question here for you today is, tomorrow night's debate's obviously going to be a very crucial one between Secretary Clinton and Donald Trump. What do you think Hillary Clinton's going to hammer home tomorrow in her message?
Well, I think what we'll see from Hillary tomorrow, and she just did such a phenomenal job in the first debate. She is a serious person, and we want a serious person in this most important office in the land. I think we will see tomorrow one of her incredible strengths is she's such a great listener, and I've watched her do this on the campaign trail, watched her talk to real people and hear what their concerns are, and connect that to policy issues. And I have complete confidence that she'll do that tomorrow night, that she will be hearing what the voters want to talk about and responding to their concerns and helping put forth her serious policy proposals to help address those concerns. And I think it'll be very exciting, and I think she'll hit it out of the park.
And thank you so much for joining us here on WHIP Radio, Philadelphia's #1 college radio station. We hope to talk to you again soon, and best of luck.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Great job. Good to be with you.